Hey everyone, it's Mr. Hollywood, and today I will be talking about episode 4 of Beast Games. And let's just start with the review. So, this is, as of right now, the most recent episode of the show that came out. And that means that I'm all caught up. And I think at my previous 3 episodes all came within minutes or hours of each other in terms of when it was aired, and I am here to officially catch up with all those episode reviews, and then for the remainder of the show, obviously those episode reviews should hopefully be like the day of or the day after that their respective episode premieres on Beast Games on Prime Video, and those should hopefully be the same days where I do the review. But anyways, episode 4 of the Mr. Beast Games sees people fighting for their chance on an island, and this episode was almost as suspenseful as episode 3. In terms of Beast Games and just Mr. Beast in general, it is kind of hard to top episode 3 just in terms of suspense and action and utter shock. This episode was still very fun and entertaining. So it just was people fighting for their final shot at competing for the island, and this is where they really shrunk it down, because by the end there were only 60 competitors remaining. And I will admit, challenges were pretty cool, but the one that really though got my attention, that felt like a true turning point of the series, was the second to last challenge, or I believe it was the third last. It was the one with Jeremy clinching his spot to the helicopter, where basically there was 110 coins. They had to, in order for this helicopter to go, someone had to have 100 of those. And while most of them deservingly picked Jeremy because he turned down $1 million, there was definitely some conversation and intense of people not wanting to have him move on and guarantee his spot, and would have rather sacrificed a spot, like 6 spots on the island, than let Jeremy get immunity, essentially. And in some ways I was kind of like, really like, kind of just like, we all kind of have these feelings of, why did you do this? What are you doing? That's kind of my feelings. It's like, I really wanted Jeremy to move on. I will just say up front, as of episode 4, I'm cheering for him to win the whole thing for the Mr. Beast reality show. I understand some people didn't like him. They thought he was arrogant. They thought they were just people that were just essentially being his cults. And he definitely got very religious in this episode, which I'm not going to really talk about that deeply. But realistically, I would have actually, I kind of just hoped that anyone who wanted Jeremy to, who didn't want to vote for him, I rarely ever kind of just cheer against people in Mr. Beast videos, because there's always those one person who I always want to see win. Well, not always, but sometimes. But realistically, I really hope that someone who, those people that really were willing to spoil everyone for Jeremy, or not spoiling for Jeremy, spoil 6 spots in the helicopter just so Jeremy wouldn't get immunity. It's I understand they felt like he was getting too much of this immunity. I could understand. At the same time, they also probably could have been eliminated had he not turned down $1 million. So it's in some ways you kind of do need to give the benefit of the doubt to the person that had the insane morals to not give up $1 million. And I feel like like I discussed in episode 2 and 3, I believe, of my reviews, like, I feel like it's like, how much immunity should that person get? It's like, should they get a lot of immunity? Should they get only a little bit of it, like the benefit of the doubt? Because realistically, it is kind of hard to overlook the fact that you just turned down $1 million. And where this, like, I feel like this idea kind of all started with age 1 to 100 to compete for $250,000, where number 30 betrayed his whole team for $100,000. But the thing is, they would all get eliminated. It wouldn't just be the team, it would be them themselves. This definitely felt like a very different scenario. But it's like, for all those other captains, it's like, it didn't feel like, and it was more of like they got to choose, and there was challenges that were like not always completely in their control. But at the same time, it's like, you honestly shouldn't, like, you should definitely give them some benefit of the doubt, because they could have sacrificed them, because like some of these people could have been sacrificed. And this is like the same thing. It's like, even though you might not like this person that much, it's like, it is kind of hard to overlook that they turned down a lot of money just for them, just for their team to stay in. So yeah, like, I'm very happy that Jeremy ended up moving on. I really just do hope he wins, and I really am excited to see the other episodes, specifically the island. But anyways, there were then 2 more challenges after the second last. So yeah, I believe this is the third last challenge, and then I'll just sim through all the way to the last challenge. The last challenge was the real game changer, where obviously they kind of redid the token thing, except for it's in groups of 6, and only one in that group could move on. But the catch is, they have to be quick, because if no one did it, then their whole group would, because there weren't enough groups for 6, or there were more than 6 groups, so not every group was gonna have their one representative who was gonna take part in the island move on. They had to be quick, which obviously you would think, oh, just give it to them, maybe just make out a deal, because I didn't really see anyone working out some deal. Maybe they did though, because obviously there's things that aren't always shown. It always does feel like they should have just worked out a deal, because maybe they did, like, maybe they should have just done a 6-way split. That's a little less than $1 million. That's still very fair, and just choose the person who was going to do the best. Because realistically, I feel like in this scenario, you should just give it to the person who's gonna do the farthest, and that will have the longevity. Like, if it was me and 5 of my friends, which I'm not sure, like, I feel like it would depend on the context of like what kind of challenges we do. But obviously I would try to work out some deal and have the person who I feel like would be the best going forward, have them continue, because I feel like that feels a little more fair than just people hesitating and then no one got to move on. Which, I understand that aspect of you have to be quick and sacrifices are sacrifices. At the same time, it also just feels like in some ways just kind of irritating, frustrating to watch. But it was definitely very fun at the same time. Especially that last part, because there were 4 people all racing to the helicopter, but only 1 spot remained. And, you know, the one that was actually really the most impactful was that contestant who said they would have self-sacrificed them for their team, but then their whole team recognized that and they let that person continue, which I thought was very neat. So yeah, anyways, that was the final part of the competing to get your ticket to the island. And then there was the island itself, and there was a twist about the $1.8 million. So, like, I initially thought when he was mentioning this in the earlier part that I initially thought that, you know, maybe everyone gets a chance to compete for it, but only one person will. Or I also initially thought it's like they weren't competing to spot on the island. Like I thought everyone, well, of course I didn't think everyone would be the island. I didn't think like it was competing to the island. I thought maybe that was just some mini game with no risk of being elimination. But the twist was they could have very much so gone for the island for 1.8 million, the $1.8 million island, and still continue. But the risk is if they try to go for it, they'll be eliminated. So yes, in some ways it is a mini game. So I guess that kind of is what I expected if I'm thinking about that. But yeah, at the end, 51 people get immunity. So it's not as big immunity when 5 out of 6, well 51 out of 60, so more than 5 out of 6 get it. But yeah, it is, I guess, still like a free vacation, and it definitely seems like very fun. And I personally probably would have done the same. I don't think I would have gone for the island if I could have just gone a free vacation that maybe it wouldn't be worth as much as the island, but probably still be worth a good amount, all for free, with no risk of being elimination. So yeah. But I do think it definitely also adds a question. It's like, do you want to compete for a big bonus prize, or do you want to have a very fun vacation? But then at the end, only 9 people ended up going for the island, and we will see who wins it next week. So, I'm actually very exhausted after doing 4 Mr. Beast episode reviews, because I actually did this all back to back, but I just still went episode by episode, and given the timelines, the video would have been very long if I didn't. So I'm very glad that I did do episode by episode. And when I do my whole season review, I'm gonna be a lot more efficient on that, because I am not going to be going as much in depth per episode for my big season review. Anyways, thanks for watching. Feel free to share your thoughts on the show so far. Feel free to share your thoughts on the episode, and feel free to share your thoughts on the future of Mr. Beast, because I feel like this could determine a lot in the future of Mr. Beast. Anyways, thanks for watching. Feel free to share any of your thoughts, and I'll catch you guys later. Now, peace out.